Now, how can Nigeria reduce recurrence of fire incidents in the country? We will be looking at all of the issues surrounding the recurrent fire incidents that have been happening recently in Nigeria, especially in the Federal Capital Territory and here in Lagos. Well, joining us to discuss that is MD CEO Surveillance Fire Limited, Jumade Adejola, joining us for expert analysis. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me second time. Yeah, indeed.
Now, looking at statistics, especially this 2026, there are reports that within just 32 hours in January, 3 major fire outbreaks occurred in the FCT, with losses estimated at over 650 million naira. That's according to the Federal Fire Service. We also recall the one that happened at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. What would you attribute all of these recurrent fire outbreaks to?
Well, thank you very much once again. When we talk about fire incidents, I believe fire incident is just an accident anyway, most of the time. But then there are some accidents that need to be prevented. And if you want to prevent something, which means you have to prepare for it. And the one that happened in Murtala Mohammed Airport, I think it's at a construction site anyway. And because they are renovating the whole place. But we don't expect it to happen anyway, if things have been put in place. But having said that, I think they are trying their best to make sure they put everything, even with the money they have put in place now to safeguard the asset. I think we need to give them kudos for that. And we will want to advise them that things that needed to be done should be done at this stage. We don't want to have excuses again that this what happened, this what happened. Now that you have opportunity to put things in place, now that the construction is going on, let us put it in place and make sure that everything we want to do, we put it there. Then the one that happened in Abuja is not, but actually the one, it was not a fire that happened at the Transcorp anyway, it was a simulation. What they were doing in Transcorp then was just fire drill.
All right.
Because I was even there myself too. I was there on that day. So I was shocked when people were saying there was a fire incident. But I will call them that the next time they should let them know so that they can debunk such. Because between you and another, I'm here to defend anybody. But Transcorp have been one of the best organizations that they take fire incidents seriously. And the prevention is always very top-notch.
Yeah. I'm still going to delve into the Murtala section of Terminal 1 that the incident happened. And when you look at high-profile infrastructures like that, you'd expect the highest level of fire prevention processes within that infrastructure.
Yeah.
But clearly that didn't happen. Yes, the section was going to be renovated, reconstructed, and what have you, according to the minister. But in such a scenario whereby when everything has been done, as you say, what would it take to prevent that from reoccurring in that regard?
Yeah, thank you.
Especially when you have aviation, infrastructure on ground.
Aviation environment is one of the environment that takes safety seriously.
Yes.
We are not talking of Nigerians alone coming to the country through that airport. We are talking of the foreigners and even some dignitaries coming into the country. Even some airlines will not even fly in if those things are not in place. And that is why we should stop taking things as Nigerian way. We should look at the international standard and what is even required of us. And that is what I expect the fund to do, because I know they have professionals. And even with the ministers, I know they talk a lot, but at the same time, he knows what he's doing. I think this time around, they need to really, really put in place. For example, what happened? It was just the server room, the head room that was gutted by fire. What I expected to have, what they should have had in that place, is what they call the automatic suppression system.
Good.
The automatic suppression system is an automatic fire prevention. Immediately it senses smoke or fire, it triggers itself up automatically. And all this one they were having that there's fire incident, it will not happen. It's not occur. If you look at some of the organizations that takes fire safety seriously, especially like oil and gas, some banks, such thing cannot happen. Because you have invested a lot of money in your server.
Indeed, yeah.
Running to millions of dollars, and then you want it to just go inflate because you want to prevent with just about little millions.
Yes.
You won't do that. But the government should wake up. Most especially, they should begin to use professionals in some of these things. We have been telling them, you don't just use people because they belong to one party or the other, or because they are your people. No, look for professionals. Professionals are there to help. And professionals are there to do what is necessary. And that is why we are very happy, because most of us belong to international organizations. And they even refer to us from abroad, that whenever they want to do so. I could remember when Google wanted to come to Nigeria.
Yep.
Some of us were recommended to take over the even some of the organizations before they come to Nigeria, they look for who are the experts in some of their sessions. They get in touch with us. So the same thing I expect the government to do. Look at us, most of the committee they're having. They're supposed to have professionals in those committees, not just politicians. No. Nobody says, nobody is interested in what they do. But this is our country. We need to get things done. And then we need to do it quickly. We should not just be looking at things. In fact, we feel very ashamed when we go outside the country and they're telling us what's going on in your country, that there's fire every time. But I think some of them are listening now.
Yeah.
Especially Lagos State government, I think they are listening now. I think they are doing what is supposed to be done.
So your opinion, all of these fires are preventable, most of them at
Very,
least.
very preventable.
But I'd like to know if you think that perhaps we're just documenting better, or are these fire incidents increasing? Or is it that we're just maybe getting more information this time around?
You see, what really happened is that we've seen where we have a lot of incidents. Let me give you an example. In Lagos State, for example, we recorded about 1,000 or something calls of fire incident last year alone. 1,000 or something fire incidents. But in New York, we recorded over 80,000.
In a year?
Yeah. It's not that. This happened only in Nigeria. But that does not mean that what happened in New York is accepted. No. We're saying that even now, Nigerians are doing their best now. I'm telling you, because the awareness is now there. But definitely, most of these incidents must happen. And I don't want to be a devil advocate here. Most of the time, this thing happens to wake us up. For example, I've been telling people about, we don't want disaster on the tall buildings. We don't want disaster on the high-rise. Because when you have disaster on the high-rise, that it's always very, very devastating. And then you need to be very careful. Because we have not had that, then we should not wait until it happens. So we need to do something. The government need to wake up. Most of the legislation. You know, we're talking about legislation.
Yes.
And legislation is not only just having the legislation there. There must be follow-up on legislations. Somebody must be punished when anything happens, which they were doing in Lagos State before. For example, if a fire incident happened and they realize that you do not have the fire incident, fire equipment to prevent it, they can take over that property. Yes. When things begin to happen like that, even the developers and others, they will do something. Look at developers everywhere. They are doing things and nobody is checking them.
Indeed.
I inspected some places. I was shocked when I saw that there's nothing like fire prevention. And I asked them, and you expect people to stay in this type of building? Look at the areas, 10, 12, 15-story buildings.
So who is responsible for enforcing legislation towards fire prevention in such buildings that you've inspected as well?
Yes. Let me tell you, there's no clear cut in Nigeria because the Federal Fire Service is supposed to be doing such. If Federal Fire Service have to come, there was a time I was trying to look at what is the relationship between the state and the Federal Fire Service. And I've discovered that I may be wrong. What the federal government, our Federal Fire Service is doing in a state like Lagos State, is that they are only responsible for the federal government properties. Can you get me? If anything happens, they just rush to it. But Lagos State did something very fantastic. During the last dispensation, I was part of the committee they set up. What they did was that, okay, federal government has a lot of federal fire stations in Lagos State. Lagos State wanted to build more fire stations. Instead of you replicating, because federal government is not spending money on Lagos, on the fire service they have here, So they came together, the governor and then the minister, then the ambassador, the minister of interior. Yeah. They came together with then our governor of Lagos, that was Ambode then. And I was a consultant to Lagos State. Another consultant from federal government. We went around in order to take over those buildings. We gave a report. What happened after then, we did not know. But luckily, Lagos State now came up with various and several stations, and they keep those stations. That is why there's fire incident now. You see, within 35 minutes, Lagos State Fire Service is there because they're everywhere now. They, if you call their toll number 767, they are called, or 119, they are there. So is it 112? 112, sorry, 112, I forgot. So they are there, and things are done quickly. I think then it was during that time too. They now establish, it was even Fajala, they established safety commissions.
All right, Mr. Jumade Adejola, we'll have to let you go here. But thank you so much. It's been really, it's always interesting and enlightening having you talk to us about fire prevention and fire safety in Nigeria. We just hope that we're able to put all of these talks into action so that we can prevent all of this fire incident. Thank you so much for your time on the show. Jumade Adejola is an expert and is MD CEO Surveillance Fire Limited.